Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Life Law Bin. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's lovely to see you again. Well, today I really want to talk to you about the skilled worker visa. I just want to briefly discuss the process that I undertook in order to obtain my skilled worker visa to undertake pupillage. Remember that the information that I'm providing is based solely on my experience. So that means that the information that I'm about to share is not indicative of the Bar Council's or the Home Office policies or requirements, especially in the future. This is simply a reflection of my experience applying for the visa. So please do visit the relevant websites for up-to-date information. Let's dig in. So, generally, for international applicants, who are applying for pupillage, we need to utilize the Bar Council. Now, the Bar Council provides sponsorship for international applicants undertaking pupillage. Once you submit all the relevant documentation and comply with the Bar Council's requirements, you're generally provided with a certificate of sponsorship to apply to the Home Office. Now, a certificate of sponsorship is valid for 3 months from the date that it is assigned. If you do not use the certificate of sponsorship within this period to apply for entry clearance or leave to remain, it automatically becomes invalid. Now, you can apply for a visa up to 3 months before your start date. Now, that's helpful for you to know so that you can start planning accordingly. The first thing you'll realize as an international applicant is that we have to be very organized in order to facilitate an easy or a smooth transition from one visa to another. So it was helpful for me to make a checklist of everything I needed to do. This helped me at the time to determine what information I needed from Chambers in order to complete the Bar Council's application form for sponsorship. Now, this means that you will need to contact Chambers early to find out your work start date and end date. Okay. It's important that you know what you have to do because you have to contact Chambers way before they probably may anticipate. Now, that start date and end date cannot be a generic date. For example, like start date September 2024. It must be specific. So, for example, the start and end dates would be 2nd of September 2024 to 1st of September 2024. That pupillage, as I was informed at the time, must be 365 days. So your start and end dates must match your offer letter and the letter confirming the start and end dates. So you really want to be liaising with Chambers to just double check these things. Now, you must fill out the skilled worker certificate of sponsorship application form. You will need to liaise with Chambers to confirm the following. So you may have to speak to them about your total weekly hours of work, your main work address, other regular work addresses, your job title, your projected yearly earnings, summary of allowances, and guaranteed bonuses. All of these things you want to be liaising with Chambers in order to facilitate the completion of the form because everything there has to be accurate. You want to make sure that you're sharing accurate information with the Bar Council, and that information, therefore, is going to be relied upon by the Home Office. So you want to make sure that it's accurate so that if anyone does any checking, that can easily be confirmed. Now, I was required to pay an application fee for sponsorship to the Bar Council of £950 and provide evidence that the application fee was paid as part of my supporting documentation. And that fee payable depends on the length of sponsorship. Now, my Chambers also had to pay the immigration skills charge of £364, and evidence of that payment also had to be submitted with my application. So you can see that you have to be liaising with Chambers in order to get the paperwork done. Now, if you're interested in more information about sponsorship fees, the Bar Council sponsorship fees, please visit their website. I was expected to provide the following documentation in conjunction with the application form to the Bar Council. So I sent in a scan of my passport page, scan of my current visa. Obviously, that would be, you would comply with that, where applicable, a scan of your national insurance card or your national insurance number, um, notification letter from the HMRC or the Department of for Work and Pensions, a copy of the offer letter from Chambers signed by a senior clerk or head of Chambers, a letter from your Chambers confirming the start and end dates of the funded pupillage, and the annual gross projected earnings evidencing the value of any allowances given to you as part of the funded pupillage, and declaring that you understand the terms of your leave to remain under a skilled worker. Now, it's very helpful that the Bar Council provides a templated letter, but you should note that all those letters, the letter that you submit from Chambers must be on headed paper, signed and dated by either the head of Chambers, senior clerk, or chief exec. The thing is, all of this information you'll find at your fingertips, as long as you go to the website. Now, I completed the skilled worker certificate of sponsorship application form, sent the relevant documentation, and submitted it to the immigration support, well, the Bar Council's email address. In my experience, if you need to contact the Bar Council, it is ideal to contact them via email. Someone will respond to you. I think they're quite good at that. They're quite prompt. The longest I had to wait for reply was 6 days. That's not terrible at all. That's actually pretty good. If you don't understand something on the form, please do email and ask a question. I found that they were quite excellent in getting back to me and ensuring that I understood everything, and they resolved every query that I did have. So I submitted my application and information to the Bar Council and received an expeditious outcome. The Bar Council indicated that they aim to provide applicants with a response within 2 weeks of satisfactory receipt of both the relevant payment and all supporting documentation. But actually, they responded to me the day after I submitted my application and provided me with a certificate of sponsorship by email, which I then used to apply to UKVIA for my skilled worker visa. Now, please note this is just my experience. All applications may be processed in different timelines, but obviously I was certainly pleased with the expedited outcome. But do pay attention to what the Bar Council says is their standard processing time, and do give them the standard processing time that they indicated. So it's up to you to leave time for them to process your application. Now, that certificate of sponsorship enabled me to apply for the skilled worker visa. Given that I was applying from inside the UK, my application fee was £719 for the year, plus £624 for the year for the healthcare surcharge in order to use the NHS. So that's basically the fee to use the NHS. So the total paid to Home Office was £1,343. The total I spent to remain in the UK to undertake pupillage for a year was £2,293 if you include the cost around the fees for the Home Office and the fees paid to the Bar Council for sponsorship. So it is quite an expensive venture. So please do save if you know that this is the route that you need to take in order to undertake pupillage. Now, the visa usually takes approximately 8 weeks. So, after you've got your certificate of sponsorship and you started, you submitted your application or whatever to Home Office, that application process usually takes approximately 8 weeks. I recall getting mine in approximately 7 weeks or so. The visa application includes the normal stuff. If you're doing this visa application, it's probably likely that you've done other visa applications. But If not, it includes the normal stuff like your personal details, your travel history, any convictions and penalties that you may have, the sponsorship information in regards to the job, obviously, as a pupil barrister. You will have all of the information that you need to complete that section via your certificate of sponsorship. And they'd obviously ask you about your current immigration status. Now, given that I was not issued with a BRP card when I obtained the graduate work visa, I could not use the UKVA app to verify my passport and current immigration status at the time of application. So that simply meant that I had to schedule an appointment with UK VCAS, in which I had to go in person to get my documents checked and scanned. It is only when the supporting information is checked and possibly scanned at this appointment that the supporting documents for the visa application are submitted to the UKVA. Now, that's important. You don't just want the paper application to have been submitted, you definitely want the paper application to be submitted plus all supporting documents. So that's pivotal. Now, UK VCAS offers an array of services. Often you do have to pay for an appointment. So that's why most folks find the app ideal. I can't say that I was especially ecstatic to have to go in person and incur a fee. But that's why if you can use the app to verify your documents, it's advisable. You'd save some money. But anyway, the UK VCAS offers an array of services. Often you have to pay for that appointment. I was actually lucky enough to find a standard appointment in which I didn't have to pay. So thank you, God. But I paid £39.20 for a for document checking. So that's just basically ensuring they would just ensure that I have all the relevant support and documentation for the visa application. And I paid £44.80 for document scanning. So that's literally self-explanatory, and £2 for an SMS service, which was providing text messages of the relevant appointment information, especially on the day. Because you need to make sure you have your QR code when you go to the appointment. So the total spent on the appointment for myself was £86. Now, UK VCAS does have an option to scan the documents yourself. So obviously you can choose to do that, and you wouldn't incur the fee. I still scan the documents myself, and I was advised at my appointment that it was still good that I paid for the document scanning, because if the documents were actually scanned incorrectly and the service wasn't paid for, I would have had to book another appointment. That was what was told to me on the date that I went to get my stuff done. So for me, I still thought that it was so good that I paid for both document checking and document scanning, because it means that that time was allocated for in my appointment just in case something went wrong with the document. So because I paid for that, they had to double check that the scans were correct, and given that they saw that the scans were correct, they were happy to move forward. But if the scans were incorrect, or they couldn't see a page or something clearly, given I would have paid for it, it would have been it was already allotted in my appointment time, so they would have helpfully scanned it for me. So I successfully obtained my skilled worker visa and my new BRP card. Upon receipt of that, or the BRP card came by delivery, so just literally you have to wait around, get an email, and I had to wait around um, for it to arrive. I got a generic email basically saying that the card should be with me within 7 days or so, ultimately giving them about 10 days in total leeway to deliver the card. So it just means that you have to be around in order to receive the card, because I actually had to present my identification and sign in order to receive the card. I do believe that when they're delivering it, you either have to be home or you have to leave a responsible adult in order to collect that card, because it's not something that they're just willing to put in the mailbox and go ahead. Someone has to sign for it and receive it. So upon receipt of that BRP card and digital confirmation of the visa, I liaised with the Bar Council to conduct a right to work check, which involved me traveling to London. That's one of the conditions of the sponsorship. You have to go in person after you have received your documents. Um, um, Possibly, yeah, you have to go in person as when you receive your documents and get that right to work check. Ideally, you need to be going before pupillage begins, and that's exactly what I did. Well, that was a bit of a whirlwind tour into my process for applying for pupillage, not applying for pupillage, sorry guys, applying for a skilled worker visa in order to undertake pupillage. I hope you found it useful. You know, please stay tuned to the channel. I will continue to ensure that we have some informative content coming your way. Have a good one, guys. Take care of yourself. It's always a pleasure. See you later.